Hi there, Chris Hill, Senior Editor of Equipment World magazine. I'm at the Volvo construction equipment booth at World of Asphalt in Baltimore, where they've just launched their new intelligent compaction system called Density Direct. One of the key features is we have a multi-touch screen interface that's in the cab. The Density Direct actually measures the density of the asphalt versus the stiffness, which is what other intelligent compaction systems do. And we talked to a couple of engineers here at Volvo and kind of give us a lowdown and explain exactly what the system does and how it works.
So far, most of the competition have been providing intelligent compaction system, which provides a compaction measurement value or stiffness value. And however, when you're compacting the road in the field, the contractor is paid based on the density. And most of the operators understand density. They don't know what stiffness is or the compaction measurement values. It has no unit, so they really understand density. So what Volvo is providing this density direct system, which basically gives a density value in real time to the operator with a map. That map has a color-coded grid that will represent the density on the mat in real time for the operator. And that's really important because it can be used as a quality control method to make sure that he's getting the target density.
We have what's called our display. It's an Android display. And it has it's touch screen, much like any smartphone. You can shrink, you can expand, you can twist the image. You don't need to take it into the office. What it does is it folds up and it locks into there. All right, and so the data that's in the display can be ported to a USB stick. And then in the future, we're going to have an option where somebody can push it to cloud storage via CareTrack.
I like it a lot, this one especially. It's easy to use, and for being up there while you're supposed to be concentrating on running the machine, it's nice because you don't have to like finagle stuff, this and that, and easy use and visibility of everything's nice, and to change screens and everything, and just the overall system itself, it ran pretty smooth. A lot of times you rely on quality control guys, but they have 10 other jobs to do while they're on the road. So when you look at the screen, it says, okay, here's your 92.5 or whatever you would need for compaction for the minimum or to minimum and maximum. You kind of can work by yourself in that aspect. You don't have to keep relying on someone else around you, and you know you're doing your job properly, continuously rolling this and covering this right pattern. It just makes it a little easier as an operator to make sure you hit the whole road consistently.
We're using the same sensor. It's called accelerometer, which measures the acceleration of the drum or the vibration, and that's basically a electrical signal that's coming out of the sensor. The competition or the previous intelligent compaction systems use that same signal that we're using to estimate or to calculate stiffness. We're using the same electric signal, but instead of calculating stiffness, we calculate density. The stiffness depends on the temperature, the thickness of your pavement, the air void itself. So the stiffness that you measure at one moment would be different in 2-3 hours when your pavement cools down. The stiffness is dependent on too many variables, and you cannot measure it in real time in the field. So like today when you're doing compaction, you have these gauges, the nuclear gauge or the density gauge or the cores that you cut. All these measurements are density measurements. They're not stiffness. So everybody understands density, everybody uses density.
With the measurements this system uses as opposed to the ones we've used or I've seen, this one has a more direct correlation to the blacktop compaction as opposed to a number you get that they're, I don't want to say still in the works of trying to find the correlation, but you look at the screen, it tells you 94% compaction. They take a core, and that's, we were pretty accurate when we did ours. Like you said, the software on this and the tablet itself, the one we have has a 6-inch screen, and it's just a little harder to view. I'm not knocking the Tribble system at all, but this one use was a lot easier. So much to pay attention to, especially being on the road. You want to make sure that the screen that you're trying to pay attention to is fairly easy to access.
Right.